Hello, galactic travelers, cosmic crew. Merry Christ Consciousness Eve gift. Oot, oot. That is a really long one. Merry Christ Consciousness Eve gift. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. It is CC 122420118, and it's Christmas Eve. So first of all, Christmas Eve, it is so much, means so much to so many of us, right? And I really was reflecting, and this is a topic that since this holiday season began has been in the back of my mind, and it's something that I really wanted to talk about and open a forum with the crew about, in regards to when we go through this process of evolving and everything that we know around us is changing, and these holidays that were such a part of the fabric of our lives, the connector points, if you will, when we're the 15%, holding this consciousness up, but our human longs to be in that program of that Norman Rockwell painting. And that first Christmas, when last year for me was really rough. Celebrate the Christ consciousness that is growing within humanity. That's Amanda, and check out her channel Mandolin. I'm purging intensely. Past 3 days have been a little rough with me. Zero appetite. Yeah, guys, I'm glad that came up. You know, because we really did. We're on this 3 days of no sun. 3 days in the dark, 3 days from death to birth. It's actually 2.5. Hoot, hoot. It's 2.5, but 3 days. And like we're in this period of resurrection, right? I mean, that's like, and that's what I wanted to, it's so deep what this process is, and it's happening astrologically. It's happening on a planet level. I mean, we just, that's what the winter solstice is. It aligned with the moon. I mean, do you see how magical everything is going on? We're coming out of a kaleidoscope. And but I can hear the crew. I feel you guys. We feel each other. And so everyone, and this is what being tapped in and tapped on is all about, right? I mean, you guys feel this too. Like everyone's like, "Oh, exactly what you said it resonates, and it's exactly what I needed to hear at the right time." It's because we're s- I'm just tuned in, and I'm hearing what you guys are feeling. And I want to address this as a collective, this feeling and having to change within a society that is so anchored down to things that our human is still anchored down to. And so I wanted to share just my experience, and kind of what was going on for me, Christy, a year after, my first woke Christmas. and I can't wait to make that Christmas ornament. That was actually Rex James's idea, my 10-year-old. um, who will be 11 in January on January 30th, which is where the eclipse was last year. And for some reason, for the past 4 months, I've been telling everyone he was already 11, right? I mean, whoa. Everything's changing around this crazy craziness. But Christmas for my first woke Christmas was it was beautiful and it was inspiring and it was um really what set the foundation for this year now that I think about it. But it sucked because, everything in my physical, because I was so unconscious at that point, I still had the house and didn't know if it was going to be able to sell or anything. I mean, God, let's take a look. We've come so far. Holy crap. I Since I didn't have a job or anything and I was going through such a quickening, right? Plus we were learning lessons with money and having faith and getting broke down, paying back the banks and getting the IRS off our butt and so getting rid of people in our lives that said that they were going to help us but then last minute didn't come through, so we had to hurry up and then it was like, okay, how am I going to get that solution? Well, the only one was to go door to door to churches and go ask for assistance in places that I had been sending people for them to get help. Because I had a electric bill and I had to keep the electricity on so I could sell the house even though I wasn't even staying there anymore, because I was still getting it out of that relationship, that a relationship that I had just realized I had wasted so much time and energy on at one level and went back to it 3 freaking times because every time my life started getting better, I loved him and I wanted him to come with me. I wanted to bring my whoopee with me. I wanted to bring my blanket with me. And every single time I did that, 3 times in this life, it all ended up horrifically bad. So, I was dealing with that. He was sleeping with someone that I wasn't aware of, and my neighbor, all this stuff. It was like the whole image of my reality was just like, boom. At the same time, I had this like spiritual connection and I knew it's like I knew all these things and at first it was like in my spiritual journey it was like my knowings were coming up. I was just saying them and then I was tracking them back to prove, in the beginning it was like showing me that my intuition was dead on and it was magical, but I still wasn't completely aware that I was creating my own reality because I was still locked down into that emotional setting, which of course, it's a process. It's a freaking we're burning through a lot of layers. So that first woke Christmas though. So um I didn't have any money to get a present for my son, not one, not one, not one, not one. I mean, I think last Christmas, I might have had $10, $5 because I sold everything in the house. I basically just did an estate sale and put up and just FYI, I'm glad this is coming in and I'm thanking our guides for reminding me if you're in a similar situation where you own a lot of stuff, because you just came out of this commercialism program and construct, but you don't have any money, open your house up to an estate sale. Title it estate sale, I mean, I took everything that I wanted in that house out, and then I opened up all my cabinets, and I let people come where and make me a deal. And I didn't have to pay to move it, and I didn't have to pay to store it, and I made some quick cash. So with that $3,000 that I made, that was able to get movers, get me out of there because I had no assistance. Get me movers and get me out of there, and was able to buy this iPad that I've done everything else on, right? Because we're still stepping out of it. But I didn't ever but Christmas to me was, if I didn't have something to give my child as a mother, oh, the shame. And that was a hard one because my spirit and my soul knew, and my son knew, because, we have starseed children. I hope and I pray that each one of you is sharing your journey with your child. You're at least sharing your journey with your children, because they're waiting for you to talk to them. That I mean, we're there for them, but they're there for us. They have views into the future that we need. They're pure program. They're not programmed. They're pure source form. They're truer connected. There are crystals. There are living crystals in our families. So my son knew, because my son saw everything that happened. I mean, he was only 9, 10 years old. He saw everyone coming at me, which is why he's such my protector now. I mean, my son is my protector. I just talked to him. He's only 10, and he's with his dad, and this is a Christmas Eve that we're not together. And we just had the conversation on the phone right before I went live. And I said, "Baby, I'm so proud of us because we really want to be together. But we know that we're being separated because I'm going to be traveling so much." And we've been going through this process, where he lives with his dad more. And then he lives with me, he sees me only on the weekends. And he's not living with me with school right now, and that was really hard to let go, because I wanted to be there, and I wanted to support him, and I wanted to see him every day when he got home from school, but I had to be realistic. I knew that wasn't I'm not going to be stationary like that. And I'm not giving up anything. I have to look at the higher perception and say, but I'm helping build the schools that he needs. If I'm not moving around the country, then I'm not giving him my full love that I'm capable of. And it means that I can't be with you all the time. This is that royal lineage. It's not always fun. And so as we get our royalty back, I that letting go of my child a little bit, because he's got a big destiny too. And if I coddle him all the time, then he won't learn the lessons that I learned. But the cool news is, now our children have us, and we're aware of what the lessons are. So, and what's going on in their experience. So it's like I always know he's divinely guided. No matter what, if this planet was to blow up tomorrow, and I was to go somewhere else, or he was to go somewhere else, then I know that we're on our destiny path. What we're learning right now is that we're always connected. And this has so much to do with this season, and it has so much to do with really understanding that it's okay. It's okay that, you know, Christmas Eve, there's not a lot of you're not going to the parties and the festivities, and we're happy about that in one way. Like, it's funny because I find myself being, "Oh god, at least I don't have to, run around town and do all these things," but I do miss the gatherings. I do miss getting together with people, and because I'm really in isolation right now for the most part in my physical. This Christmas, I am in isolation. Hi, guys. Hello, Sarah. So last Christmas, the only I was had just started the channel. I think, the channel had, God, I wish I could remember how many subscribers I had by Christmas, but it might have been 100 or 150 or maybe even less. And I knew I was building the channel. I didn't know what exactly. I was still so conscientious. I was still dealing with some of my addiction stuff. It hadn't I had a little some fallbacks around that point when I was dealing with the house and all these the physical things, and actually even the physical labor, of moving and packing, and cuz it was a lot, and it was, doing it by myself, right? So I fell back into consciousness because I had to go so deep, in unpacking. But now I'm reminded too to tell you guys starseedology, and even how I realized how to deprogram my brain. That whole process happened for me. It came together in my mind as I was having to literally pack up my house, as I was having to go through every single thing that was in my house that I had stored or kept or gotten, and everyone else's things, because they just bolted, and should I donate? Should I keep? Is it worth paying to store? Do I really freaking need it? And then it was the emotional attachment to every single one of those things, was just, oh my God. And that was full on by March of this year. I mean, look how fast we've come. That's when the first rainbow codes came in. That was March. I started doing starseedology in really March, April. So going through that physical experience of having to do all that is what developed starseedology. That's how I showed myself it in this reality. So there's gems in everything. There's there's gems and there's gold in everything, because we think that, and oh my God, I didn't want to do it. No, oh my God, when I would just think about that house and all that stuff, like, it just blew my mind, right? I couldn't even, that's why I just life lighted out of there. Like, I couldn't even, looking around at everything was just like too overwhelming. It just made me want to run, right? So it was like, even though I was still, so I had like that little fallback with addiction at that point, but that's okay. It got me through it. And that was with the pain pills. Okay. Well, a lot of us have this opiate addiction. It kept our nervous system down, number one. There was reasons that we were addicted to the things we were addicted energetically, but when it's time to be done with it, you freaking know, for real. With that addiction, I'm like going into all kinds of crazy stuff. I ended up quitting, October 2016 was when things started changing to get me ready for May 2017, and legit, my doctor got thrown in federal prison on the Michael Jackson charge. That's how I was like, "Okay, got it. Now I'm going to LA," and I was excited. I was like, "Yes." And I knew I had to go to this spiritual healing place. I ended up going to, in California. This was over Christmas time, December. Oh, this is why this is coming up. Wow, this is just more of the reflections. December 21st, 2016 is when I just got back from rehab. and it's the first time I had been clean really since I was about 9 or 10 years old, because that's when they started giving me the pain meds for my migraines. So, wow. Wow. I When I went to that rehab, it was, the first time anybody had talked to me about anything spiritual, ever, and my nervous system, and the energies in my body, and I didn't know then what it was, but they had this thing on Monday night that they made us go to, and it was out of everything that in the classes, and we there was, uh, there was a therapist that you talked to, but then there was also a spiritual guide that you had, and then there was, hypnosis was the thing that really got me, hypnosis therapy, which is really meditation in a lot of ways. And I've even used some of those techniques on the channel before, sprinkled in. But the I was out of all that, what I hated to go to and what I actually was always trying to get out of was the singing bowl session. There was this room, and it was an awesome room. It had all these little pillows on the floor, and they had singing bowls in there, and they'd turn off the lights, and it was at night, and everyone would just lay down and go to sleep. Me, when those frequencies were coming through my field, I thought I was gonna freaking lose my crap. I mean, oh my god, it was like ants crawling all over me because that is how sedated my field was. Um, and I couldn't even stand to be in there because I couldn't even stand to have it awoken. It was had been so sedated. So anyway, that is where Jamie, my hypnotherapist there, who I love, who I call my first teacher, she put me into hypnosis, and that's when I heard the crow for the first time. It was so loud, and I said, "Oh my god, did you just hear that?" I mean, I jumped up, and it was this in my ear. I was, like, pulling the curtains back. I was like, "Where's that crow?" But she was the one who told me for the first time, "Hey, you're holding on to energy that's not yours." And I was like, "What? What's energy? I don't understand." Because I had no idea. She was like, "Yes, Christy, you can get all this goopy energy out of you." I was like, "Wow, I can?" She's like, "Yeah." And so she was like, "You know, you have these rays that come out your fingers, and they're connected to your heart, and when you breathe in, feel that gooky energy in your legs and stuff, and blow it out, pure light through your fingers." And it was just amazing, right? And it was so crazy because I know, you know, another precious soul that was there. It was really weird because normally this rehab, because it was like I was at camp. I mean, I would love to go for a tune-up. The food was awesome. The chef was incredible. He called me gluten, because I couldn't have any gluten. And when I left, it was just such we had create it, there it wasn't full. It was over the holidays that year, and for whatever this was right after the election happened, and the Californians were freaking out because Trump was in, and so I was in California, so that was really trippy, for real. But I also know that I mean, I literally met royalty from another country there who I call my sister in the Philippines, and I know that there were many of us game changers there, taking that doing that at that time. Now it's quite amazing. And so we were very close. And so even chef made me lamb. He had saved up the budget and added some of his personal money and like had this amazing dinner because it was right at Christmas. And one of the other people there wrote a song for me. I mean, it was just amazing. And that was by May of 2017 is whenever I really woke up where I was connected and aware. And that was just 2 years ago. The system was actually stacked against me. It was crooked. I had no choice but to sign the others. I would have stayed. Our journeys, you never know why we're on different paths for different reasons, you know, and Christmas time last year, I had just that was 2016 that I just talked about. So I was starting to get well, and then I got plopped back into my life with my light shining brighter than ever, and then it got a nuclear infusion in May of 2017. And so, of course, everything that did not fit anymore blew up. And last year at Christmas, I was at that point, that bottom out point. It was my first woke Christmas. And my son knew. He wasn't even upset. It was like we had both that I didn't have any money for presents, and I know I keep coming back to this, but at a commercialism standpoint and as a mother, and especially as a working mother, because this is how our kids got spoiled so badly to begin with, because as soon as women went back to work, then we started overcompensating and giving and spoiling our children because we weren't there for them, because we were made to feel guilty for not being in the house. So this is whenever this Christmas and our children being so damn spoiled, this is when we got spoiled, when our parents were no longer there, and they were out working, making money, so they were giving back energy to us the best as possible, and that balance, that's what arose the misbalance in the whole societal system. So it was like I knew that, but at the same time, I was so freaked out about not having something physical to give him. And this was when Matu, and I had more correspondence back then in the beginning. And because she was kind of like m- I am to you guys right now, to me, it in my early stages. And she had just started the Pimp My Matrix clothing on her site, which she has, by the way. She's got like on sunsolastrology.com. If you do Pimp My Matrix clothing, she has some all the zodiac signs, sweatshirts and t-shirts and stuff too, not just Sun Soul Astrology. So she gifted me a Sun Soul shirt, and she gifted me a sweatshirt to give my son. And that's what I was able to give my son last year. And I was so grateful for that. You see, the universe gave that to me, and it showed me I was gonna have whatever I needed. If my son needed an electric guitar for Christmas, he would have got it. One of y'all would have given it to him. Somebody would have come in and given it to him. I call in the release of all the energy that is on our fields that makes us feel like if we're not giving something physical that we're not giving. Release those energetics on our fields. We are giving, we are giving, we are whole, we are abundant, we are love. The spirit of this season is the true spirit of the season that we're all remembering and awakening to. We are love, we are whole. We are truly Christ in this now. We are rising tomorrow. Christ consciousness is rising. You might get a little flustered in your family situations. Be the observer. Hold the higher energy. You're the tent. If that energy comes crashing down, it's because you did. Wow, I talked about a lot of different stuff. I'm looking at the chat now. We are the same spark. That's what we do. Must strengthen each other, love each other. Hoot hoot. So, the other thing though that was really cool about Christmas last year is we didn't have to cook a bunch of crazy crap. Everybody wasn't freaking out about having their whole dinner in preparation because at the end of the day, it's like the women were like, "Do we really feel like spending that much energy in it? Because we'd really just rather rest and hang out." So it was like all those constructs that Billy's got to have is this, and he's got to have this, and running to the store and 5 different times because you forgot this and blah, 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 that was out the door. So it was like last year for the first time, it was everyone was just kind of be Coco Chi. Everyone's trying to Coco Chi. We opened some presents. We saw the pure joy in the other person's face with what they did get because it was the one thing that they really wanted above all else. They weren't getting presents just to have a present, and then that reaction was never what you hoped it would be, and they had no idea how much trouble you went through to get that for them, and then they just threw it on the floor. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It's like all of it is such chaos and craziness, and so it's like when you have those, and so this year it was much easier. I this year I was able to buy my son an $80 sweatshirt that he wants with his name on the back, and that's what I'm giving him. Because whenever I even ask my son now, because we've had this experience of having nothing, and he really doesn't even remember us having a lot at all. He doesn't he doesn't remember how much he was spoiled by me at an early age because he was so young. He had evidence of it, but he doesn't necessarily remember it. So, he was like, "Mom, I really don't need anything. I really don't." He knows how hard I'm working. He knows that I'm building this from the ground up. He sees what's happening. He knows that if he asks for a switch and if he's dying to have it, that I'll forgo something to get it for him. So he knows he doesn't need it that bad because we've gone through this purification process with intent and starting to understand a little bit more about truly, what we need versus what we want, and then what that means in regards to what it takes to get it. And so it gave us a different appreciation of my family, which is my son and I, so it was such a huge gift, and that's why I say, last Christmas, that first woke Christmas really set up how it was moving forward. It's like you don't jump back in, it's not like this Christmas is the one where Molly lost her husband and she showed up so she couldn't afford any gifts. So let's get together in the kitchen and let's all put in some money so we can buy all those kids, I'll get everyone presents on her behalf. It's like, what? No. Why don't you give Molly $100 so she can pay her electric bill? Hoot, hoot. I mean, it's like, it's so funny what we do or what we used to do. It's like, it's so ass backwards. It's so hilarious. But anyway, it really set up the foundation, to so much. And so I just wanted to share this about the first woke Christmas. I just wanted to share that if you're feeling a little blue today, you're feeling like, man, is Christmas ever going to be the same? Is my life ever going to be the same? Well, I'm here to tell you, no, it's not. But I'm also here to remind you, isn't that a good thing? Isn't that what we've been asking for? Radical change, pure reality change, one that we're actually now energetic, able to manifest into physical reality. If our brain has been stuck into a matrix and a prison, and that's really all we ever know, there's nothing that Truman knew outside of the Truman Show. So he angst about leaving and he dreamed about leaving but he didn't know that anything existed from the outside. So we had that same Norman Rockwell Christmas over and over and over, and we know, did it ever end up like Norman Rockwell? No. So we're spinning out of that, right? So we're creating the new. So we only remember what happened in that prison. We didn't have any idea all these other things exist out here, all these other spiritual, energetic reasons for the season, all the other dimensional, galactic transitions that our evolution is going through. And this is why, you know, Christmas was always a build up to be let down, even though at a heart center you felt that connection, but you couldn't quite get any more from it. Now we're connected all the time, you know, and of course it's going to change. We got to get used to the change. So I'm here. I wanted to show up and give just this little woke Christmas story. And all of you have your own stories, but the reflection is just amazing. But if you would have told me last year, number 1, that I'd be still here at my parents' house. 'Cause I was like, "I'm getting out of here." But I realized I couldn't. I have such a blessing. I don't have to. I can spend more money getting that I do make on getting everything up and running because I don't have to have all this assistance. And so as soon as I was okay being here, then that's when everything started building, and now it's like, hell, now I know why I don't have an apartment here. Who knows where I'm going to be living on this planet, right? I mean, so But if you would have told me I'm sitting here talking about, worldwide travel and all of the projects that are taking off, like we're really starting to like we're really going to start building this stuff. Like this it's already happening, but I mean it's by this time next year, holy whoa. Can't even. I can't even. I can't even. Let's say it. Where are we going to be next Christmas? Next Christ consciousness. We're going to be celebrating Christ consciousness. And what does that look like? So as you're around your family and they're griping about politics or they're griping about the government, they're griping about whatever, just let them gripe. Just let them gripe. Just step your way out of the energy. We are becoming Christ, and I was reminded. I went and saw Mary Queen of Scots. I went by myself to the movie theater, on the full moon, 22nd, and saw Mary Queen of Scots, and then I went and had dinner and went dancing for just a little bit. And I'm so glad I did, because I was in such an observer mode and so energetically in tune and so telepathically in tune with not only everyone that was there, only two people approached and talked to me, but I was holding the energy of the place in each place that we went to, if you know what I mean. And it's like I could hear everybody go, "Who is she? Who is she? Who is she?" They thought I was someone famous. They thought I was a celebrity of some sort, because they could feel that energy of confidence is what it is. It's an energy of confidence, and I could hear everyone's minds. And Amanda, who's in North Carolina, girl, I forget, North Carolina, she texts me because she can feel someone in my energy field that didn't feel right. She didn't know what it was. She didn't know where I was, and there was, some weird thing that I was leaving and getting. It wasn't a bad thing by any means. That's my point. Like, I was in complete control. But my point in telling you is that Amanda was even tuned in that something entered my energy field that wasn't quite right. I mean, we are all so tuned in with each other, and because we are one energy, we're all working together. So hold that energy with your family, and just remember that. And you don't have to be a part of the conversation. If you feel resonated to say something, I feel like a lot of you are being tested at this point. Not really tested, but you're showing yourself. A lot this holiday season for a lot of people is them coming out to their families and discussing this. Really discussing their spiritual journey, what they know is true, and to the point where, look, you're on board or not. And so I feel like this season for a lot of people, this is happening. And energetically, what's going on is too, you feel energetically threatened. It's like it's just an instinct, when there's a lot of density around you to right? And but some of that is necessary, because remember, you have contracts with the people in your family. I mean, you don't want to say something that you're supposed to say, because you don't want to piss off the family, when the thing is, you pissing off the family might be exactly what it is that's supposed to happen to wake up the whole rest of your family. You can't control any of it. You have to go with all of it. Now, what's really cool, though, as most of you know that have been on this journey for a while, is at first, that's why when you trust your intuition, it was for good, but the experience from the human perspective is perceived as not so good, right? But That's just because there's so much that you've gotta get out of that layer in order to get to the other side. There comes a point where you're trusting your intuition and you're flying because you've released your it's like your soul's got you out of that prison. Now it's like, "Okay, now trust your intuition. Keep going." I know I just shocked the shit out of you when you trusted your intuition. It wasn't something you really wanted to see. But keep looking in the mirror, keep coming back. So, a lot of us are in this new point, and I mean, and from a galactic I mean, holy crap, not even look what we've come this year. I mean, look how we've come humanity. Look how far we've come. Orion, look how far we've come. Galactic, look how far we've come. Multiverses, look how far we've come. Holy crap. We're awakening Lemuria and Atlantis right now. Shit. Where it's all coming out of the ground. This is uncharted territory. It doesn't matter how old your soul is. It doesn't matter what pharaoh you are. It doesn't matter what deity you are. It doesn't matter freaking if you are creator himself on this planet right now. Everything that's about to happen has never been seen before. And when you come out of a rewind, that shit'll blow your mind. Ooh, I like that. That's a song. Rewind. That shit'll blow your mind. I don't That's a horrible tune, but somebody run with that. So, anyway, I'm gonna be quiet. I've been watching Matt Kahn, and it's been life-changing, triggering epiphanies. I've seen that name. I need to If y'all have channels you wanna share here, there's beautiful messages. Don't forget to turn on, if update your YouTube application on whatever you're on and go under the channels and see if you're getting community because I'm starting to share more, especially as more of you guys are getting channels and really when I'm seeing these sparks where I'm seeing it like boom, I'm sharing. Um, I did an interview with Cassandra at Rebel Humanitarian. So go subscribe to Rebel Humanitarian. She does meme Monday, so there's another meme today, I'm sure, and then she does Wisdom Wednesday, and then Friday which is the what she's going to air. We taped on the 22nd. I was so honored to be her first inspirational guest. So it's talking to inspirational motivators, but it's talking to us about all the perception is, when you reach this higher dimension, it's like when you see somebody, the perception is they haven't gone through anything in their life, you know, because you're not connecting to them at that energetic level. It really is an energy thing. The more that we evolve, the higher our frequency gets. It's like the less energetically attached we are to the masses until they come up to us. Energetically, that's how it works. So when we progress really fast, we wonder why we're not reaching the masses. Well, it's because we progress too fast, so that's kind of the trick with all this spiritual healing. And it's why, we see a cycle of spiritual teachers. We're going to start seeing more cycles of them go through their own evolution in groups. And then there'll be more coming in to pick up like Aluna Ash's position. Not to say that she's losing it. Hers will broaden. She's got, 50, 60,000 people. So now, in this new cycle of a new year, for 2018, it was like Aluna was Maru. And now there'll be more because we've awoken so much more. But anyway, you see what I'm saying? And then but we're all doing our different things. The energy of the people will come whenever that's who comes. It's like with this channel, I haven't always known because it used to drive me damn nuts on why I wasn't getting more subscribers. I didn't understand. Well, now I completely understand. I mean, the information is so it's so high consciousness. It's like we're like a magnet pulling them out of the water. It's like there's only a few of us that resonate, but there's at this time, but there's not a ton of us building a new earth. We had to have the secret handshake. Oot, oot. Our energy, the secret handshake. I'm so grateful for every single one of you. I'm grateful. I'm just so grateful. Y'all are my family. It's a family I never really had, and it's the biggest gift that I could ever ask for, and it was the only thing in my whole life up to 44 years that I ever really wanted, and I just love you all so much, and I'm so excited about what's coming because 'cause we're writing history. We're writing history. We are the stories in those books, guys. You can be as big of a character as you wanna be in that story. But the Bible has already been fulfilled. The new one is being written right now. And then a lot of us on a soul level are stepping back into that mission. And that's how big it is. And at a soul level, we know that. And so at a soul level, there's nothing more that I could ever ask for than others that feel the same way so that we can really build for our children schools, systems, get everybody out of corporate bullshit, get people off health care, show them how free we are. Just show them that you're happy. Just show them that you're so damn happy. That's from Blue October. And so when you're at your gatherings and if you don't want to go, don't go. That's the other thing. Don't do anything that you don't want to do. If you're always going to figure out you shouldn't have gone if you knew you shouldn't have gone, right? I mean, that's when shit goes really bad. Use this time to really get in touch with your instincts. And I might even be back today. I might be back tomorrow. I get Rex tomorrow night. Hello, beautiful souls. Hello, butterfly kisses, divine goddess. I've been on for about an hour, so I'm going to hang up. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. And Merry Christ consciousness. Venus be driving that sleigh, y'all. For reals. Hoot, hoot.